Hey, Phil from the future here with a quick caveat, warning for those of you that are going to play this deck. Winota does not function properly with these humans that transform into werewolves. You can put them into play, but they don't become indestructible. And I'm going to learn this in a very bad spot in the last round. So just heads up. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and I've got a spicy one today, even by the standards of this channel. So the other day I was playing in a league against user Carnage, and this beautiful, beautiful deck list appeared. So they played as Zara Renegade Recruiter, and I was like, what? And kind of over the next turn or two, I deduced that they were probably a Winota deck list. And the idea being that you use Goblin Rabblemaster and Legion Warboss to create a bunch of tokens and then fire off a Winota. And then when each one of those goblins attacks, you get to go wild, looking at the top 6 cards of your library, and you can put a human creature from among them onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. And it also gets indestructible for a turn. And while I was using this to do initiative nonsense, this person has gone a little bit bigger, opting for a 4/4 hexproof that is going to scale up with 2+1/+1 counters a turn. That's like a forge amount of value. Or something that gives you 2 green wolf tokens and does some other fun stuff on the back. Or something that looks at 7 cards and gives you any creatures or lands into your hand. And as far as creatures and lands go, that's basically our deck. Oh, by the way, if it dies, you get 7/1/1 white soldier creature tokens. Note, not humans, soldiers, so each one of those would trigger Winota. And we also have a Furnace of Wrath effect. If a source I control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double to that permanent or player instead. And I want you to just kind of take a quick look at the main deck. This is a deck that is here to kill the opponent. There are no game 1 lock pieces. There are no game 1 removal cards. This is an honest to goodness aggro deck. Like, we have the stompy lands, but the plan is turn creature sideways, the opponent dies. We'll adjust in games 2 and 3 if we need to. But like, look at how clean this sideboard is. 4 Chalice, 4 Trinisphere, 4 Leyline, 3 Fury. Like, this person knows what they're about. So real quick, I want to thank Kevin for giving me a dealer's choice donation deck list that is going to allow me to do this absolute nonsense today. And to just mention this, remember, like, at the end of the day, this is also a deck that is taking the initiative, and so Throne of the Dead 3 can also hit these 10 cards. So I guess my primary question going into this league is this win more or is this good? And I guess my secondary question is, do I actually have enough enablers? So for example, does this deck need a squee to have another Legion Warboss effect in it? Does it need the other 2 Spirit Guides over 2 more of these? You know, what are the ratios supposed to look like? That's not something that I know here. When I was playing my previous red-white initiative Winota deck list, I felt pretty good with the top end just being Seasoned Dungeoneer and Caves of Chaos Adventurer, I think. Like, maybe you want a touch more top end than that. This feels top end heavy, but if the initiative also enables it, maybe it's fine. There's only one way to find out, and I'm probably going to produce some absolutely hilarious screenshots today, and I'm here for it. If you're new here and you like what you see, please consider subscribing, and if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. It is absolutely the easiest way to support my content for free. Let's battle. Well, this plays a Winota, but doesn't have anything to kind of do with the Winota. Unfortunately, this goes back. This hand's very good. It's a keep. I get rid of planes here. Alright, we're playing against a mono black helm deck. So, how do I want to play this? I think Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal, Warboss plays around Edicts better than starting with Caves of Chaos Adventure on turn 1. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't want to lose Caves of Chaos Adventure immediately. And this line also lets me win Nota if I happen to rip her, which would be sick. I love it when I do the thing like game 1, match 1. Ill-gotten gains. Oh, we're playing against a combo variant. This is probably what we call 2-card Monty, which is just a whole bunch of mono black combos shoved into one deck list. I can kill my opponent if I draw Winota. I did not. F. I guess I don't show my opponent more cards here. That sucks. All right, hold on. I'm just going to check the text of all these like bullshit large creatures in my decks. None of these have a shuffle clause, right? Yeah, all right. None of those have a shuffle clause. That's sad. I had such a fast kill, too. 4 damage this turn. Lethal next turn. These Chalices and Trinispheres technically will do stuff. They're not that great. I might play a little bit. Creature can probably go here, and I'll choose to play Chalice or Trinisphere. Chalice for Dark Ritual is pretty good. I'm on the play specifically. When I'm on the draw, kind of becomes garbage, but so does Trinisphere. This is okay. This is turn 2 Seasoned Dungeoneer. I don't know that that's fast enough, since I can't interact with my opponent at all. I'm going to try to fish for a better hand here. This is fine. 1 Cavern. Might be Petal. I'm doing turn 1 Chalice anyway. Let's throw back a Cavern. This gives me more flexibility. Alright, opponent's got the ley line. Go ahead and shut off Dark Ritual, and to a lesser extent, things like Thoughtseize. I'll throw the Lotus Petal on board as well. And then I get to decide between Seasoned Dungeoneer and Legion Warboss next turn. Like, whether or not I draw Winota being a big part of how much I care about playing Legion Warboss. Okay, sure. Speaking of, Goblin Soldier Human Warrior. I'm gonna name Warrior with this. And I'm gonna hope to spike any land here to just do the thing. I think it's just going to be a faster Goldfish than playing Seasoned Dungeoneer. And I gotta go fast, because my opponent can just like play an Ancient Tomb and play a Helm this turn. Alright. Okay, or Crystal Vein even. Yeah, I just die if my opponent has Helm. A Sheoldred, that is fine. I will lose some life. Play a Lotus Petal. Play Winota. And attempt to do the thing. I throw away Legion Warboss here, but that shouldn't matter. Winota hit 1 is a Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I will take the initiative. I'll grab red here. Yes. Wolves. Okay, yes. Okay, yep. Okay, cool. So we got a turn 3 kill there. That was pretty legit. I think we had a turn 3 kill last game. Question mark, question mark, question mark.
So my current issue is that my opponent's on the play, and they can play their Dark Rituals
and their Chrome Moxen out before something like Chalice and Trinisphere can come down. So I think instead I play a couple of things that help me get a Fury or a Sheoldred or a Plague Engineer or something out of the way. Oh wait, is Sheoldred 5 toughness? Okay, Sheoldred is 5 toughness. I guess this finishes it off after a Goblin don't block. I don't know, maybe it is just back to game 1 configuration. Just hit him dead with a Winota trigger. This is another turn 2 initiative hand. I don't think that's fast enough here. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan and try to do better. This is not better. I'll happily go to 5 here. This is much better than the previous hands. This goes back. I think I may try to live the Winota dream. This will probably result in a turn 3 kill. Definitely a probably, though. This is going to be a plateau. I'm going to fetch it now to play around Opposition Agent. I don't have very many fetch lands in this deck, but the ones that I do have matter a lot. Karn's annoying, but is not the end of the world. That's going to get an Ensnaring Bridge. I think I can beat that. I beat that as long as I draw another red or white land for Winota, I think. This is a reason to have a Fury, by the way. My opponent revealed Ensnaring Bridge, unsurprisingly. I drew Chrome Mox, which would give me Winota next turn, but, you know, darn. Let's go ahead and Legion Warboss. I will go ahead and pressure Karn. If my opponent randomly has a Lion's Eye Diamond to go Hellbent here, it becomes very hard for me to beat them. Okay. There is a Douthie Voidwalker. Did you just have Helm and activate? F. Alright, like my opponent got a turn 3 kill. That is what it is. Alright, I will concede. I probably had a turn 3 of my own if I spiked the mana source. Otherwise, I had a turn 4 after killing Karn this turn. What a high tempo match. Okay. Turn 1 Warboss. Turn 2 Winota with any land hit is absolutely a keep. Ancient Tomb, Warboss, Spirit Guide, Plaything. Ooh. The Force of Will. I'm gonna play this out. Playing it out plays around discard, but doesn't play around something like Prismatic Ending. But I'm not sure where I'm supposed to fall. I think this mana source is just so important. Okay, good. I played around the discard that my opponent did have. Could be playing against something like a Doomsday deck here. And a little bit of blue-black Reanimator sort of stuff running around as well. All right, there's a new Lotus Petal. This is not the ideal textbook Winota here. Let's be very clear about this. This is me playing a 4/4 attacker. Ugh. Fuck, okay. Alright, we lost game 1. So we might be playing something closer to Death's Shadow. My opponent did fetch an Underground Sea, though, so could still be Doomsday with Days. Alright, we're not just fully dead. My opponent does not have additional land drops. Okay, sure. Alright. I really need to hit just running lands here. Sure. Clears the Brainstorm. Guess it could be Cephalid Breakfast after seeing Tundra. Sure. What are we doing? Oh. We're getting weird with Staff of the Storyteller. Sure. I feel much better about my odds of potentially winning this game after seeing that. Like, my opponent is going to take a while to kill me. Like, I will have some time to go and, like, find a Cavern of Souls, put it on human, and then resolve a whole bunch of really cool shit. Draw your card. That's fine. Yeah. Big breath of fresh air here. Ooh, the second staff, real good because it triggers both of them. My opponent gets to start to refuel. That's fine. Again, this is a slow clock. It was 1 a turn, now it's 2 a turn. That's still, generally speaking, forever. But I do have to hit lands. I don't know how much I'm going to sideboard for this match. Timeless Dragon. Okay, that's good to know about. I don't think that's like enough that I'm going to want to play Leyline or anything, but this is a real body here. I lose Caves of Chaos Adventurer right now. Oh. I lost Winota. So my opponent might have Swords to Plowshares then to just answer Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Alright, there's the Petal. I am obligated to just try this. This gets me to my next land drop if it resolves, which is a huge deal. Okay. There. I guess I can turn off auto yields. I can play this land drop this turn. Yeah. My opponent gets to take the initiative, which is not great, but I fully just have to play cards and hope that something works out here. Sure. Oh, that's a nice looking island. Okay. Now I know I want Fury. That is a problem. My opponent does have basic planes to find. And I'm comfortable conceding to my opponent having onboard Monastery Mentor and multiple spirit tokens as well as Timeless Dragon as backup. This creature seems kind of weak here. Might trim a little bit of this top end. I'm thinking about Fury and Chalice. I might not play Fury on the draw. It might just be more important to jam Chalice, stop my opponent's removal, and go. I could cut 3 more pieces of top end. I think I'm a little light on gas if I do that. I think I'm going to play Chalices on the play, and then play more creatures when I'm on the draw. Plays a turn 1 Chalice, and then does nothing with Winota, and Winota consumes all my colored mana. I'm going to fish more heavily. Is this fine? A 6-card hand where I throw this back. I have a turn 3 Winota. 1 draw step to top deck. 1 of 8 cards. I'm going to go heavier than this. Yes, this is probably the best hand so far, despite being awkward. I'm going to throw back the Caves of Chaos Adventurer. My plan is to play a Chalice on 1, followed by a Chalice on 2, if the Chalice on 1 resolves. Or alternatively, if my first Chalice gets Thought Seized, I play a second one, which is what's happening here. Alright, the Warboss is a good draw once I get to the point where I can play it. But like, we're definitely seeing the cost of including green cards in the deck list. That's rough, both Chalices being answered. I think between my mulligan to 5 and double interaction for my first 2 plays, I'm likely to lose at this point. I'll play this out. My next red card can turn into a Legion Warboss, but I'm not super happy about my position. Like, it's turn 3, my opponent's at 18, I'm down to 2 cards in hand, they have 7 cards in hand. This is probably not happening. Play around days. It feels very important to play this around days, despite the fact that this is incredibly awkward. Let's actually leave that up. If my opponent has Force as well. Well, Hydroblast would have gotten Legion Warboss anyway. Alright. Mentor, just absolutely wreck me. Okay, Prismatic Ending on the red source. Fuck me. Yep. Alright, my opponent now has a whole bunch of cards in hand relative to what I have, and can probably start accruing value very well. My initiative cards are going to start to be bad here because my opponent can contest the initiative now that they have a flyer. I'm still going to be bad against something like a Daze. Cool. So when I so frequently talk about like mana base building, and I like harp on how important it is to have mana that can actually cast your spells, like this is exactly why. I threw away a Legion Warboss to bad mana this game, and this Legion Warboss is also uncastable. I just like really can't afford to be giving my opponent this time because they just start doing this nonsense. Again, it's okay until they have a real clock, but as soon as that happens, I'm dead. Well, I can maybe try to cast that next turn. It's a solid clock, but this is very much not where I want to be at. I'm just ripping over my mana while my opponent gets set up. Alright, sure, there's 2 staff activations. When it gets 4 looks for a Force of Will or a Hydroblast or whatever to interact with me. Sure. Third staff, where they start like doing Ancestral. Yep, okay. Like, it requires mana investment, but in a war of attrition, that is fine. Or in a world where I don't actually dissolve anything, that's also fine. Alright. Lotus Petal, Romox, Imprint Legion Warboss, and then concede the game to Force of Will or Daze. Oh shit. Okay. I wasn't really expecting to ever resolve the spell again, but very happy about that. Now, Swords to Plowshares can just, like, kill the big boy, but a couple of 2/2 wolf tokens gets somewhere sometimes. What is this? Oh, a Teferi. I guess you can bounce it. Oh, they're bouncing a token. That's a sign of strength. Sure. There's a card draw. Alright, cool. Ancient Tomb's not good. I think I go face here. I think messing around and trying to kill that Teferi is probably a mistake. Like, I want the Teferi dead. Let's be very, very clear about that. Okay. I cast no spells on my own turn. So now this guy flippies. Now I have to read the backside. Another target wolf or werewolf you control fights target creature you don't control. Cool. So that helps a lot with something like a Monastery Mentor. Does it say another? Another. Whoa. Sure. I don't have a word for how many cards that is. What is it? An opportunity, I think, is a draw for. All right, my opponent holds them all back. End of turn. This fights that. Okay. Game has gotten weird. Otawara bouncing this. Or my fight still goes off. 2, 7. This turn is probably attack Teferi and see if my opponent wants to chump or trade both spirits, kind of how they want to approach this. They are going to chump. I think I try to redeploy this and redeploy it around a daze. Got it. Oh, wow. Cool. All right, we're going wide. Oh, right, and it's still night. Sick. That's real good for me. I'm so used to the old werewolves where they always started on the front side. Those like that old muscle memory bites me in the butt with the newer werewolves. All right. Opponent going for an attack, which feels like it means Supreme Verdict. Opponent's going to discard. Feels like instant speed Supreme Verdict. Yes. And I'll attempt Seasoned Dungeoneer. We'll go and get red. Purposes of some of my cards. Call it a turn. See how my opponent feels about stuff. They are very, very, very far behind on clock, by the way. They are like drawing lots of cards with Staff of the Storyteller, but like they are down 5 minutes of clock. I think that's okay as of right now. But if we end up going to a grindy game 3, it's very much not okay. I'm not sure which side I'm supposed to go down or the Undercity. Like, it's legitimately very tough because the life loss from Trap is very real. I guess part of it is what mana does my opponent end up leaving up as of the end of turn. Found another Narset. Do they have Swords to Plowshares? Timeless Dragon gets discarded. I think I'm going to go ahead and forge. Sick. Found a Legion Warboss. Brainstorm's fine. That is a Force of Will. Pitching that Narset that I saw earlier. They do have the swords. That's okay. So I could cut diagonally across here if I want to try to get a body, JK. We'll go for trap and hope to finish off my opponent, but that's a Swords to Plowshares. Monastery Mentor plus Staff of the Storyteller. I'm going to guess you can put together how good that is going to be. Dome my opponent for 5. If I play Winota, my opponent swords it and then gets a whole bunch of extra value. I think it is correct for me to not play Winota here. Like, my opponent would swords, mentor trigger, and then get to draw 4 cards. I don't think I win from here. Just so many cards. My opponent will have the initiative as well. Active Teferi. Timeless Dragon as follow-up. Since I know they have the swords as well, I think I'm comfortable conceding there. GG. Okay. I don't know that this is a keep. This plays a turn 1 Rabblemaster, but then can't follow it up with Winota or Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I think my mana doesn't quite work out here. Go to 5. Let's go to 4. This does not do anything. Like, I can rip a red and land, play a turn 2 Goblin Rabblemaster, but then never play any card again, I would rather go to 3 and try to keep land, something. Okay, yeah. So I think I keep these 3. And then this gives me the potential for my exact draws to be one of the 8 Goblin Rabblemaster effects into a land for a turn 3 kill still from 3 cards. That's the Magical Christmas land where my opponent does not interact in any capacity. So, okay. Yes. What are you doing? Archon of Benalia. That's pretty good. So we're in a pseudo mirror match, probably. All right. There's hope here. My opponent just slams an initiative creature or something, like I probably concede, but okay. That's my opponent's spell for turn. Archon of Benalia is symmetrical. So that's nice. I got a pseudo time walk there. My opponent's down to 2 cards. All right. There's a Winota in play. I can, again, top deck a Goblin Rabblemaster effect and go wild. If it was a Solitude, my opponent at least had to 2-for-1 themselves. That's rough. For the Rubbins is my next card a Rabblemaster effect. It is. Absolutely is. Alright, whatever. Let's just draw a Winota next turn. So I send a Goblin token to its death. My opponent's still the Monarch here. Like, they are in a very good position. As long as they can play a spell on their turn or a spell on my turn, I think they... Okay. Now, if that's just the mana to get to Solitude, you know, so be it. That's a long pause. Please attack with Archon. Okay, thanks. Alright, they're gonna draw their card. I think I just throw away the 1/1 Goblin. I don't want to lose Warboss here. Like, if I attack with both of them, I lose Warboss token trades with Palace Jailer. And that's not a position that I want to be in. Buy a Goblin token. Yep. Alright, I'll play a tapped Arid Mesa and call it a turn. Oh, my opponent just probably fucked up with their Archon if they made no play there by playing Lotus Petal. I find it incredibly hard to believe that they had 4 cards last turn and just couldn't make any play. Oh, unless they're all red cards, sure. That's a thing. So I now need to hit a Winota, I think. Have a reasonable chance at winning this game. So how much am I taking next turn? In theory, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I can block Palace Jailer, which is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think is realistically lethal. So I am going to thin my deck here of a single land, rationalizing that I either win this turn or I lose this turn. Soldier? No, right? Cleric, Rogue, Warrior, Wizard. That not being Warboss here is rough. I attack in with both. I think I attack in with both. Lose this. Trade this. Play Seasoned Dungeoneer. Go to 7. This. Okay. My situation is not fucking good here. I think I just have to do this. Opponent's blocks are very good. Worse if they have like a Swords or a Solitude or a the Blinky channel thing. Totally blanking on its name. Touch the Spirit Realm. Yep. Totally expected blocks are expected. Go for a Seasoned Dungeoneer of my own. I'm going to grab the Forest to confuse my opponent here, and because it is my only basic land remaining. I don't really have Winota outs next turn. Oh, there's the Touch the Spirit Realm. Okay, so that's just... Oh. Well, my opponent fucked that up. My opponent was supposed to do that in second main, so that they could get Forge on their turn, followed by Trap. It doesn't matter. Their line is way worse than the optimal line. Way worse than the optimal line. Like 7 less attack damage worse. It still works because they still attack me, take the initiative. I'm at 5, forge and trap. Like it still works, but the line's really bad. I'm going to have an aneurysm. My opponent, ugh, like everything they're doing is still going to work, but they are giving up so much fucking value. I hate it. All right, I go to 3. Caves of Chaos Adventurer comes back, and I die to it. I almost won that on a 3-card hand. Well, maybe almost won is not quite genuine, but I put up a surprising fight. I think my opponent tripped over their own Archon a lot that game. I would like to find room for 3 Furies here. This one's kind of interesting here, but it's legendary, which is a downside. That's double damage, which is sick. Thing's not likely to die, but is a lot of gas. Since I'm bringing in Furies, I'm going to board out some green ones here and call that good. I'm not sure on like this one versus this one. Like the scaling up a specific creature is really nice. The back end of that is spicy. Extra bodies for chump blockers matters sometime. But I think my opponent's deck is just way better than my deck here. Like they are going to have access to things like Swords of Plowshare, Solitude, Touch the Spirit Realm that I don't have access to. This is a risky mana situation. I probably keep this. I think I put Winota under Chrome Mox though, despite the fact that like Warboss into Winota is my jam. I think this is just turn 1 Warboss into turn 2 Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Like I want to live the Winota dream every single time. That's what this deck wants to do. But my mana's pretty bad in this deck. And I think I just need to accept this here and try to put a lot of very fast pressure on my opponent. All right, attack for 1. All right, opponent's at 19. So there is a Solitude. I wonder if my opponent had that on my own turn. They were pausing at very weird times. Like they took a long pause after I created a Goblin token. They're also down a very substantial amount of clock. I think they are currently in process of learning their deck. Okay. Do I rabble? I think I just rabble and make my opponent blow their removal spells on my creatures that matter less. And then if they use their turn to go 4 mana, make a Seasoned Dungeoneer or whatever, I just take it back with Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Alright, cool. Dodge Sword, opponent's at 17. Rabblemaster threatens to attack for a billion D next turn. Alright, sure. That is a Touch the Spirit Realm as an Oblivion Ring. That is fine. Sure. I'll go ahead and crash in. I'll take my 2 points of damage. Well, I'll do my 2 points of damage. And I will go ahead and play this. The land that I get is tough. Getting red or white allows me to Winota, but I have a green card in my hand. I think I take a red that Furies become hard castable. And I will go ahead and just drop this land drop here. There's another Touch the Spirit Realm. That's fine. Like, I can forge up a Goblin. My opponent has not presented a clock yet. They are not grinding with the initiative yet. They're throwing away a City of Traders, question mark. I mean, maybe they have another soul land and that's the correct play. You seem like a better boy. Forge you up. So there is one of the green sources that I could have spiked in order to play this card. And throw this on human. Call it a turn. My opponent might just take over this game if they have soul land into initiative card. And I kind of brick off from here. Like, I have incredibly potent draws. But, like, there's still also a bunch of lands and spirit guides in my deck and stuff. Alright, that is a perfectly reasonable draw. I'm willing to throw away a 3/3 to keep my opponent from forging immediately. Yes. Yes, I am. I would like to just continue to go through the Undercity at every possible step here. Yep, this is fine. Go ahead and trap my opponent, have them lose 5 life. Go to 5. Play this. Play Zara Renegade Recruiter. Insane because it flies and because it potentially rips an initiative card out of my opponent's hand. Again, though, like they can play another Seasoned Dungeoneer, they can play, a Solitude, can have a Caracas, can have another Aganjo. They have plenty of counterplay here. Okay. Thalia entered the exile zone. So this is probably the White X March thing, whatever it's called. March of Otherworldly Light. There it is. Seasoned Dungeoneer should not attack this turn. My opponent is very much on the defensive. They cannot let me work towards Throne of... Oh, sorry, I thought they had the initiative. That's much more interesting then. They probably were supposed to. Yeah, that's very good here. I will cast a Lotus Petal. Green. Oh, no, not Ancient Tomb. Second green. 1, 2. Play Huntermaster. I now am very much going wide of what my opponent is doing. I have Throne of the Dead 3 if my opponent does not attack. And I have Lethal if my opponent does attack. I do not have green to activate the backside of this thing. I don't have a single true green as of right now. My opponent needs a lot here. So there's a Palace Jailer. I eat 4. My opponent takes the initiative. I imagine they have to scry. Or no, they just kept Palace Jailer on top. Okay, they are forging. Yeah, okay. So, card was pretty reasonable here. Do I want another? My games where I'm on the play are just so much harder. On the draw, maybe this card is just worse than this. Just more bodies up front. I haven't gotten blown out by a Caracas yet, but it's a thing that should exist in my opponent's deck list in theory. I think I'm good with this. Again, though, I think my opponent is at such an advantage. Their removal is so much better than mine. Their mana is more consistent. Turn 1 Rabble, turn 2 Caves of Chaos Adventurer is a little all in for my liking. I will be keeping this, though. Gonna be kind of bad against, like, initial Thalia and Archon. My opponent is going to 5. Alright, they did keep on 5. Alright. They have a Chrome Mox. Pitching a Seasoned Dungeoneer. Alright, there is the Archon. That is annoying. Oh, this hand got really hard to play. Got really, really, really hard to play. I'm play Plateau and Lotus Petal this turn with the intention of Fury on Archon of Emeria next turn, pitching Goblin Rabblemaster followed by Caves of Chaos Adventurer. And that line also allows me to eat something like a Thalia, but would be bad against an Anointed Peacekeeper or equivalent, which I haven't seen yet. Or I can just Fury now, pitching Caves of Chaos Adventurer, and go all in on a Goblin Rabblemaster, which doesn't seem like the strongest. I'm going to go ahead, do the line that I previously mentioned. It's possible I'm supposed to just take out the Archon this turn so that Fury can never get slowed down. I think it's worth taking 2 damage to have the flexibility of removing something scarier or getting an extra body. Nightmare scenario is my opponent just having a second Seasoned Dungeoneer here. March of Otherworldly Light. That's fine. That's a-okay. I'm going to have so much more value than my opponent. This is a little weird now, though. Because the March got used, I can't Caves of Chaos Adventurer immediately. Is that fine? I think that's fine. I think I do kill the Archon this turn, though. Willing to take the hit from it once to see if their last card is another Seasoned Dungeoneer that I would rather remove because it scales better. Not willing to do that multiple times. Human. and pass. And then I just kind of hope they have a mediocre draw step here, and then I just get to Caves of Chaos Adventurer and run away with the game. Negative. Alright, that's very good. Chromoc's probably the worst draw in my deck there. If I play City, I will play my own Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I'll take the initiative, and now it's just purely like who ends up top decking here. I have more lands. My opponent gets the first attack with Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Means that they get the first attempt to get the extra card off of this trigger. Their deck has a higher density of removal than mine. Alright. I think that was a very bad play. That was a very, very, very bad play. I think you attack, see if I'm willing to trade the Caves of Chaos Adventurer, take the initiative either way, and then get one step further with Seasoned Dungeoneer. I think it is incredibly risky to just shove here and hope that the Caves of Chaos Adventurer hits off the Explore trigger. My opponent will probably get paid off for it, because that's how my day is going. I think I don't block and try to hit Fury, but it's not great. The Winota, which doesn't trigger off of this. I'm going to go ahead and try to get a good hit off a Caves of Chaos Adventurer attack, but realistically I'm dead to trap most of the time here. Goblin Rabblemaster is going to be turn too late. Alright, so my opponent just straight up takes it. Forge up my creature. And I live. Play Winota. Block, absorb 4. Take 3, 6, 11, maybe. Do this pass turn. Alright, my opponent hits Ancient Tomb. I did hit off of that. Block here. 3, 7, plus 5, 12. I guess I could have played Winota pre-combat and put counters onto Winota. Lived at 1 if counter hit like it did. But then a 5 plus 5 is 10. Yeah, I guess I could have played Winota, and then that beats my opponent having nothing. But then like my opponent holds back instead. Maybe swinging for the fences is fine. That's a frustrating loss though. Before our next round here, I just kind of want to say a quick thank you to everyone who is consistently watching my content and supporting me every way. I try to shout out a lot of people, but I inevitably miss some, or Patreon notifications don't happen, and I don't get any notifications from YouTube members. So thanks to everybody who supports me, who I haven't individually shouted out. It means the world and helps make this content possible. Back to the magic. Okay. I think I keep this hand even though I don't do a thing on turn 1. I just play like Mountain on turn 1. Play Mountain on turn 1, Chromox, put this thing under it on turn 2, Cavern on Warrior, and go. And hope that Rabblemaster into Rabblemaster does things. Dark Ritual, Liliana. That is not going to be good against what I am doing here. I'll discard Arid Mesa. Yeah. I think I Chromox now. I can't get Chromox Thought Seized. It's just too detrimental. A factory. It's pretty good if my opponent passes the turn. Rid of this. Alright, and they do the Lotus Petal on Warrior. I attempt to attack Lily here. My opponent animates and blocks, then Lily minuses this, and I hope they use their mana so that I can Goblin Rabblemaster. What are you doing? Holy hell, that is a giant punt. Like, this becomes a 2/2, blocks this, insulated from Lily, I lose a Rabblemaster. That is massive. Alright, there's a Sheoldred's Edict. Into, I assume, Lily minus clear the board. Wow, that punt was real bad. Alright. Play Lotus Petal. Which one of these do I want? Probably the one that scales up a second card. Yeah. Yeah, I legitimately think that my opponent not animating their Mishra's Factory might lose them this game. They don't get to Lily Edict here. I get to kill Lily next turn. Near Deadlands. Sure, that's fine. Okay, yep. Okay. Am I willing to lose Legion Warboss here? Probably. Oh, I could just attack with 2/1/1s. Keep Lily around. Okay, my opponent sent me a message. Sorry, dude, this is bad content. My son is playing Mario 64 and he needs help. Okay. It happens. Real life, family always comes first. I have a really awkward hand here. So, I think I keep this. I don't get to do my turn 1 Goblin Rabblemaster that I would really like to do. Instead, I get turn 2 Seasoned Dungeoneer into turn 3 Seasoned Dungeoneer, and I don't think I get to complain about that. Alright. Oh, this hand got hard to play all of a sudden. I think I pivot. Ancient Tomb, Chrome Mox, Imprint Winota. Use Winota to clear the way of initial, like, counter spells, lightning bolts, whatever. Oh. Didn't expect that. We might be playing against a combo deck then. Second Scalding Tarn. How scared am I? Volcanic Island. Somewhat scared. Lotus Petal? Show and tell? Ooh. So I would like probably just kill my opponent next turn, right? Does that sound good to you all? That sounds good to me. This is now 2 triggers from Goblin Rabblmasters. All my creatures have to attack. Goblin Rabblemaster gets very large. My opponent goes to 9. I am worried about Sneak Attack Emrakul. Actually, do I beat Sneak Attack Emrakul? I'm still at 18. Show and Tell is going to resolve. I believe I get Torsten into play here. Torsten is just nice insulation versus an Emrakul. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw 6. Draw 6 off my opponent's Show and Tell feels pretty good. Alright, there's an Atraxa. A lot of redundant sorceries. Ponder, Spirit Guide, Sneak, Lotus Petal, Mountain. There's Lotus Petal. There's Ponder. There's Emrakul. Not dead to that. Oddly. Oh, but I'm just dead to the damage. Fuck. Damn it. I wasn't dead to the Annihilator, but the second body just does it. Damn it. These don't fly, right? Yeah. Okay. They livey. The Chalice and Trinisphere are not great against my opponent's deck, despite the fact that they are a combo deck. I can play them, and they will do stuff, but they're not great. Because they don't actually stop the win conditions of Show and Tell and Sneak Attack. So, like, they buy time. It may just be better for me to just straight up stay in the game 1 deck configuration and try to kill my opponent and just be an aggro deck. I think I am going to do that. This turn 2 Rabblemaster into nothing else as of right now. That is an easy mulligan. Turn 2 Warboss into nothing else as of right now. This is unfortunately also an easy mulligan. Very, very easily the best hand so far. I keep this. City of Traders goes away. And Caves of Chaos Adventure goes away. I'm very bad against Force of Will here. And I can't play the second Rabblemaster effect if this one gets forced. So, like, I'm all in on a turn 1 Goblin Rabblemaster, which is unfortunate. There's an Atraxa out of my hand. Yep. And it is cantrip time. To stay competitive in this game, I have to top deck a red source this turn. Negative. I can still top deck a red source next turn and be competitive, I think, since I drew Winota. Those are both warriors. So this will usually kill next turn, but my opponent has a chance to Show and Tell, which is obviously real bad for me. Alright. I need to dodge this turn. If I dodge this turn, I probably win the game. Ooh, shit. All right. Do you have a random Hydroblaster? Something that takes this out of play once it's in play? Ooh. 3 Winota triggers here should be lethal. Get Rabbly. I'll choose double damage. Do I show my opponent this one? I think I'll just take the initiative here. It's worth more damage right now. I'll just take the red source. And Seasoned Dungeoneer. Okay, yeah. So putting counters somewhere that's 5, 10, 14, 15, 16, 20, 40 damage. Respectable turn 4. And again, I think I am trying to kill my opponent. I am not trying to fuck around with lock pieces here. Yeah, these green cards not imprinting to Crumb Box is absolutely busting my balls. This has to be a mulligan. This hand doesn't do anything. We'll be going to 5 here. How is this? Awkward that this is Warboss, not Rabblemaster. I don't know that I get a hand that looks better than this, though. I keep this. This goes back. One of these goes back. I have some top decks that can improve this hand a lot, but I am in trouble. I do not expect to win this game. I think my opponent mulliganed once, right? My opponent mulliganed once. Their hand might not be ideal, but my hand is incredibly clunky. I believe I lead on Ancient Tomb this turn as to not commit the Cavern on a specific thing yet, because I can just draw a Rabblemaster. Okay. Put in Winota, cast Warboss, I think. That's an Emrakul. That's pretty decent. I don't think I beat an Emrakul. But we're going to try. It was on Goblin. Yep. Make my token, attack with it, and I don't have things like... this is actually pretty good. That just gives me a shit ton of bodies. And this is indestructible this turn. Wait. Yeah. Oh my god, is that bugged? Wow. That's a brutal way to lose a league. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was supposed to be the 6th so that I get to keep Warboss. And then get 2 more Winota triggers and kill my opponent on their next turn. That is fucking disappointing. And it was day, it wasn't the backside. And that was the difference between getting play points back and not. Well, folks, I got my ass kicked today. We won one round where my opponent left to help their kid play Mario 64, which is a noble thing, and I'm kind of jealous. I kind of want to play some Mario 64 right now. Overall thoughts on the deck list. While I think Winota is one of the fastest aggro things that you can do in Legacy, I think this top end was not good. I think this was a case of the juice is not worth the squeeze. And this is for a couple of different reasons. So, number one, you end up playing 2 lands that don't cast the majority of the cards in your deck. And that is further compounded by the fact that Cavern isn't always going on the correct creature type as well. These 2 lands come at a great cost. These slots mean that you're not maxing out on Spirit Guides to go as quickly as possible, which is what you want to be doing with this deck. And it also means you're not necessarily having as many enablers as you possibly could. And I think the top end just stopping at around 4 mana is okay. One of the strengths of this deck was that you were playing things that were huge bombs that you could accidentally throw into play, but you could just reasonably cast them as well. And while this deck can do some absolutely nutty things, a Legion Warboss or a Goblin Rabblemaster into a Winota should just kill on turn 2 most of the time anyway, even without this stuff. So I think this is win more, but without the winning portion. Like, this deck can do some cool things, but I feel less consistent than a more traditional red-white initiative deck. and I kind of clunked around in a lot of games. Like, I normally mulligan very aggressively while playing these strategies because I think it is correct to do so because you have such powerful opening hands. But when I have a hand that it's like, oh, Chrome Mox and green card, other than that, the hand's perfect. This just not being a red card immediately costs you a game on the spot. So, like, while there's some cool fringe scenarios of like this doing the thing, reloading your hand, like if you have a Winota in play that cheated this into play, do you actually need to reload? Like, your opponent's probably dead, right? So I think ultimately everything here is win more, and I would not encourage anyone to mess around with this deck at anything past an FNM level for memes. I'm glad I tried it out, but this was tilting too far down the jank category, and I think one of the clearest like comparisons for this is like what has my win record been with these other Winota decks? I think north of 80% on average. Like I think I have 2 trophies with Winota, 2 4-1s or something like that. Like the deck is very consistently murdering people, and I only got 1 win today because my opponent had to leave. Although technically, if not for the bug, I would have ended up 2-3, but you know, there was no guarantee, I guess, that my opponent had absolutely nothing in hand. So, like, there's that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed me getting bullied for the past hour. If you did, please click the like button on the way out. It helps out a lot, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya.